UFC Fight Night, Rose, Namajunas, and Amanda Ribas. We got our old friend Carl Williams. Come on, Carl.
Come on.
All you take down live if you remember that epic fight where we had a big bet on Carl Williams and everyone just kept screaming, "Come on, Carl." It was wild. So we got Carl Williams facing a Taffa.
A Taffa.
Just a Taffa. But that's not where we're going to start. We were going to record this show last night, and then Billy Q Gate comes out. So if you're a UFC fan and you have not been following this, wild story. So Billy Q is at one point minus 170 favorite here, Jim. They do weigh-ins. First off, Zalal looked good. I will give him that. He looked good. I liked his just kind of aura. He looked like he was in very, very good spirits, very comfortable, not nervous. And then video comes out of Billy Q nursing a shoulder. A lot of people were identified immediately like he's facing dislocation problems. You could also make the case that this is similar to the TJ Dillashaw situation, if we all remember that sham.
Yep.
So Billy Q goes from a massive favorite to an underdog. And Matt Frivola comes out and says, "Man, I've been training with Billy all week. He's fine." Then Billy Q, even the fighter, comes out and says, "No, I'm fine. You guys are dorks." So let's just do the breakdown of this fight before we saw the injury and the other thing. So before we saw that, Jim, what was your breakdown on this fight?
The breakdown was that Zalal got cut from the UFC. He rattled off a couple wins against absolute tomato cans. And then he was getting a short notice replacement spot here to get back into the UFC. And I think everybody, including myself, like Billy Q, the longer this fight goes, that he's just going to pressure him and walk him down and do what Billy Q does. We like Zalal, but, he has his flaws as a fighter. And like you said, then this happens. So now what do we do? That's the big question. So I'm curious your opinion on the shoulder gate, we'll call it.
Well, so I loved Billy Q before all this, and I still stand by it. He's got great pressure. He's got cardio for a while. He slows down a touch, but even his slowdown is perfectly fine. He's got a great chin, so Zalal's not going to knock him out. And like you said, Zalal went and did the thing where he did a kickboxing match, a boxing match, and an MMA match all in one night. Have you ever done one of those, Jim? I know you've.
No. Well, I've fought tournament style. Not full contact MMA. But,
okay.
It's kind of one of those nights where the quicker you get it done, the more chance you got to. I've competed in tournaments where the returning champion doesn't fight until the last fight of the night. So you have to fight 4 times, and then you have to try to beat the champion when they're fresh.
Oh, wow. Okay, well...
Yeah, it's tough.
Okay, so those tournaments they're pretty wild, but you said it. A lot of these guys, they try and get a quick finish and move on, and that's what Zalal did in that. And again, he was fighting absolute nobodies. He is really good friends with Pantoja and Royval. I'm not saying this is a Blood Diamond Adesanya thing where Blood Diamond gets Zalal's way better than Blood Diamond. But if you're looking for a short notice replacement fighter, it fits the bill. Oh, he trains with Pantoja and Royval. He's been in the UFC, so it does make sense, especially because they've used a lot of these Contender Series guys. The well's kind of drying up with that. So I loved Billy Q before this, and now I will just tell you I've bought off of all of them. I'm going to take a little bit of the juice loss because I just don't want to be holding those tickets, and Billy's shoulder is really bothering him because, Zalal he's not a chump. He's not a bad fighter. This was kind of a bet against Zalal, but I just liked the pressure, the forward pace, and just that Billy's not going to get finished. It's like Zalal's not going to get finished. So if I think it's going to come down to a judge's decision, I think it's Billy all day just because with his pressure. But now that I see there's an injury, I think it's a risk that is not worth taking. So for me personally, I ate the juice. I went and I backed Zalal. And for me, it's just move on. Nature of the beast, nature of the business. Take your losses sometimes, minimize the damage. But I just want nothing to do with the shoulder issue of Billy Q. And then you heard some other things about Billy, that he's got some other things going on outside the octagon, which is a concern.
So this has gotten me to go a step further than you and actually physically cash out my Billy Q ticket and move it to Zalal. So Billy Q's expecting a new child in the very near future. On top of this, he is now a gym owner. So he bought a gym as well. So there's a lot of things stacking up against Billy in this spot here. And I got a feeling this line move is just a landslide of all these factors coming into play here. Hearing that he's got a kid on the way and he has a shoulder injury, well, let's put myself in his shoes. If I have a kid on the way and this is my main source of income and I just bought a gym and I have extra expenses and I have a small injury, I'm getting to this fight.
Yeah,
like I'm not taking this paycheck. It's not like Billy's like top 3, and if he loses, he's gonna lose his title shot. He's got to get a fight in. So that has swayed me all the way. Also found some interesting things about Zalal. So everything you said is correct. Friends, all that good stuff. He has been prepping for this UFC return. There is a couple pieces of info out there that he knew he was on UFC's radar. They knew they wanted him back. They just didn't know when. On top of that, it's Ramadan. He is bypassing Ramadan because he wanted to be available to fight. And he said that this is too great of an opportunity for his career, and he's going to celebrate Ramadan after. If you don't know what Ramadan is, it's their holiday. They don't eat, they don't drink. He's not doing any of that, okay? So he is 100% prepped and ready for a fight. Other side note, he was asked in an interview, apparently him and Macy Barber are... doing their thing. So, hey, props to you, Zalal.
Okay.
So life is good for Youssef. Life doesn't seem like it's too consistent for Billy Q. So I've gone the other way and actually jumped on Zalal.
Okay.
And this line, guys, this line is still moving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's moving since we talked about it last night. Then it came out. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
Okay, so we're going to start now with the rest of the fights. Mohammad Usman and Mick Parkin. Oh, boy. Mick Parkin weighed in almost 26 pounds heavier than Mohammad Usman. I'm not an Usman fan. I think he's bettable. Like, I think his fights are predictable. Like, we predicted he was going to wrestle Tafa in an extremely boring match, and it was. And then you got Mick Parkin, who knows what you're getting from Mick Parkin. It's not an exciting style. This is just going to be a wrestle up against the fence type of thing. I was going to just say surefire over, but man, this is a huge weight difference. If Mick Parkin gets on top of Usman, is there a chance there's a submission, or is Usman this tough? Does Parkin run out of cardio? I'm not going to pick a winner in this fight because I'm not sure anyone wins. I know the viewers don't win when watching this one. I was leaning hard on the over, but I don't know if I can get to the window on this one. What do you think?
Well, this face-off has really swayed me towards Parkin. Really. I can't believe the size difference from Parkin to Usman. I mean, just the head size. His head is massive. I think if he gets on top of Usman, we could see Usman take his ball and go home. I really have questions about the commitment level of the Usman brothers right now. They got a lot going on outside of the cage. He sticks with his brother. Mick Parkin's not the best fighter in the world, but I think he has a lot of advantages. The question is, how does Mohammad Usman win this fight? Does he win it by knockout early, or he's done, or can he win a decision against Mick Parkin? Does he dominate the wrestling? I don't know. I think there's more benefits on the Parkin side. I think it's a gettable number. Don't know if it'll make my card. Doubt it. We'll see how it goes. But, man, that face-off difference, I did not expect to see that much size on the Parkin side.
I think it's Parkin or nothing here on this one. So, but, it's going to be a rough one to watch to get the fight started.
Yes.
Igor, Severino, and Andre Lima, I believe some books have him listed as Da Silva. Igor Da Silva, like DraftKings does. Both guys coming off of the Contender Series. I'll start on this one. I like the underdog. I know Lima is really technical. On Contender Series, though, I didn't see finishing power. Severino, I did. I think damage, once it gets in close, is Severino. I think maybe speed is going to be Lima, so if this goes the distance, I like Lima. But if one guy's going to finish, I think it's Severino, and I'm getting plus 135 on him. I think he fights with a little bit more aggression. I think he fights with a little bit more strikes to knock you out. Lima, to me, I know he's 7-0, but that Contender Series fight, it looked good. It just didn't have the feel of this guy's a killer. This guy's coming to really, really, take someone's head off. I know he has finishes, but, let's be honest, it's not against very good competition. So, and Severino, man, I in this day and age where damage counts, the guy he fought, Jonathan Silva, was pretty good. This guy, that was an 8-1 fighter. He's finished most of his fights. I think all of them he's finished. So if I get a guy that is probably a little bit quicker but isn't going to end up with a ton of damage, I like the underdog in this one. So I'll take Igor Severino. What do you think?
I'm going to agree with you. I'm definitely going to agree with you. I actually like violence in this fight. This could be a situation where Lima, like you said, he's got some advantages in speed. He could win a decision. You're going to have the more impactful shots from Igor. And this could be a situation where Lima and him kind of have a car crash. And this is a oh shit moment where now you're fighting a guy who's a legit finisher fighting legit competition. Man, I love unders when we have undefeated fighters, especially making their debuts. The adrenaline's going to be high. We've seen recently with these guys off Contender, the adrenaline dumps are very evident. Very, very evident with these young fighters. So I like violence. I like Severino. And that's where I'm at with it. I think you have no problem taking a shot on this fight not to go the distance. I think it's a very playable number, too. I think it's under minus 200, right?
Yeah. It's down to around plus 136 right now on DraftKings. So I just two guys coming off a Contender Series, I'm just not really sure you can make either of them a favorite. I think I would say if the lines were flipped, I would say take Lima just because the value is it's just kind of one of those value plays. So Montserrat, Rendon, and Darya, not even going to try it. Jim, not even going to try and pronounce that last name.
Nah, let it go. Go with Darya.
So, this was one I had pegged right off the beginning. I like Rendon to pull off the upset here. You've got Darya, who really quick, good hands. There's no doubt about that. I mean, bare knuckle fighting was last night. She strikes me as one that would have a very good career in bare knuckle. Very, very quick hands. She can do damage. Problem is, she can get damaged up pretty good, and she does not have a ground game. And Rendon, I think, is just going to be a little bit stronger. And if Rendon can just not get really, really pieced up bad on the feet, I think she gets Darya on the ground. And if Rendon gets her on the ground, I think she holds her there for a while. Rendon's ground game is the big advantage that I think that I've saw the biggest weakness here. And this is Darya's UFC debut. What are we doing here? Minus 240? We've seen this. We've seen this story before. A lot of times in the men's division, there was I can't remember the guy that came over. His name escapes me. He was like 15-1, and it was like even. He was fighting this UFC vet who had lost like 1 or 2 fights to like killers, and it was a really, really like the lines were really close, and then it wasn't even. It was laughable. It was just laughable. I'll look it up and see. I'm not saying this is going to be laughable because I do think Darya is an exciting fighter on the feet. But in women's, man, when you get a striker and a wrestler, I think there's going to be long periods of time that Rendon can get her on the ground. That's where I think the advantage is. And I'm getting 2-1 on this one. So I'll take Rendon over Darya. What do you think?
So this is going to be my first shot of the night here that I already have locked in. So I took this fight not to go the distance.
Okay.
At plus 165. And here's my reasoning. This is back to I've been pretty good this year on these women's fights not to go the distance because I think we're getting a real disparity in competition, and what they've been giving us is women that excel in the other person's weakness. And this fight checks all of those boxes. We can get it standing, we can get it on the ground. It's whoever's fight whoever has their own what's the word I'm looking for? Drawing a blank.
Whoever excels the most
area,
in their advantage
right?
could get the finish.
Exactly. I think they're gonna. Like, if Darya doesn't get the finish in round 1 and Rendon gets on top of her in round 2, we haven't seen fantastic cardio from Darya. We haven't seen the competency in the grappling to keep herself safe. That being said, Rendon's striking leaves a lot to be desired. Could she get sparked early? I could 100% see it. So I'm going to take the plus money stab on this fight not to go the distance and sit back and just kind of wait it out and see which one of these ladies comes on top. I don't hate your look on Rendon, though. If you're going to play that angle where we have a debutante as a massive favorite, which has been very good this year, you got to go with Rendon. You just have to. She has the experience advantage. The level of competition over in Russia, not the best when it comes to the women's. Really not.
The best fighter she fought, she lost to, and she got ground and pounded out. And it was bloody. Mm-hmm. Both of them were bloodied up.
Yep.
And Melissa Mullins is a real fighter. So that was the only time she really got to step up in competition against a UFC caliber fighter, and she got popped. So, yeah, I'll go with Rendon on that one. Mm-hmm. Stephen Nguyen and Jarno Errens. I'll let you go first on this one. What do you think of Jarno Errens and Stephen Nguyen here? Stephen Nguyen, pretty big favorite. I have not heard one single person say that they like Jarno Errens, and I wake up this morning and guess what? People are betting on Jarno Errens. This line has moved 30 cents. So there's people out there that are not on Stephen Nguyen. What do you make of this one?
Well, this guy is keeping that 30 cents in his pocket because I bet Jarno Errens on Monday.
Oh, okay. All right.
We know Stephen Nguyen very well. Very well. Is he a UFC caliber fighter? No way is he a UFC caliber fighter. I am shocked at the love for this guy in the betting market all week and on all the breakdowns. How could you be confident laying money with Stephen Nguyen and laying minus money on him? Give me the plus money against this kid every single time he fights. I don't care who it is. On top of that, they face off. And Errens, I mean, talk about two different types of body builds. Man, I mean, Errens looks like a fighter. Nguyen looks soft. His Contender Series fights were unimpressive. He beats A.J. Cunningham. Big deal. It's just the strength of competition. You have a guy who's already been in the UFC. I'm on Errens. I'm on Errens at, what I get, plus 160?
Yeah, we beat the line.
I want to say?
We beat the line for sure.
And I'm not even opposed to hitting it at plus 136. I think it's a great number. I'll take the underdog shot again. I'll chase the plus money. You know what's another thing I was thinking with this one as well is the plus 3.5. On Errens,
wow. Oh,
right?
okay. That's a good one.
I mean, I don't see, say we don't get a finish in this fight. How in the world is this going to be a unanimous decision either way? Yeah. I can see this being a split all day long. And all you need is one round. You need a guy to win one round, playable number. That's where I would go with it. That or sprinkle the plus money.
Yeah, I'm with you. So Jarno Errens is not that impressive of a guy. He's low volume. He has not really shown killer instinct. There's a lot of concerns with Jarno Errens, but I will say, in his last loss against Sungwoo Choi, he had a little bit of success. I thought he was terrible against Gomes. He was awful against Gomes. He was at least better. He had a couple moments. He has, up to this point, he has not thrown enough. He hasn't shown the ability to really finish because I thought he had Sungwoo Choi wobbled and he just didn't jump on him. And that's 2 losses in a row. And if you're going to get a UFC win, this is it. It's an overhyped guy coming from Contender Series. This has been one of the angles of 2024 is betting against these guys coming off a Contender Series. And you said it. He needed 3 times on Contender Series to get on there. How many people get 3 chances? He lost against Cruz. He put on a pretty lackluster performance. It took 2 years off, and he comes and beats A.J. Cunningham, and it took him till the second round to do it. Yeah. He throws a lot of volume, but I'm with you, man. I have thought this guy's been a fraud from the first time I saw him on Contender Series, and I do not understand the love. People just absolutely love him. So the value to me is all on Errens for sure, 100%. So put me in the camp of people that have moved the line here towards Jarno Errens. It's not even that I love Jarno Errens. It's just if he improves a little bit, I think Stephen Nguyen's going to be a little bit fraud checked in this one. So
I agree.
Yeah. Miles Johns, Cody Gibson. You got Cody Gibson coming off of like an amazing fight against Brad Katona. Talk about a fight nobody expected to be that exciting. That was awesome to watch. And then we got Miles Johns. So I watched weigh-ins, and I'm on Cody Gibson. I think you probably know why. I only need one reason to be on Cody Gibson. What do you make on this fight?
What's your reason? We didn't talk about this one, so.
Miles Johns got he had no gas, and then all of a sudden he had a really good gas tank, and he lasted like a long time, and then he got popped for steroids, and I saw him at weigh-ins. I was like, that guy's not on steroids anymore. So I watched Cody Gibson lose against Katona, but he had energy in the third round. It was a good fight, yeah. It was a great fight. Give me Cody Gibson all day long. Miles Johns, like that performance against Dan Argueta was so like, where did that come from?
Agreed.
And then we're like, oh, we know where it comes from. Like, it should just be a lesson to us. Like, guys you don't go from having no cardio to a ton of cardio overnight. If you're going to do it, it's gradual. Or it's over a couple years. You don't just go from not having cardio to having cardio. And sure enough, he got popped. Well, it was just a little amount. Do you know how much?
Well, they said it was Adderall.
Okay.
Or not. Yeah.
They said it was a little bit amount, but if you test positive, you got popped. Like
something.
You got something. So that's all I need is the guy that's coming in off steroids. This has been a trend that has been amazing. So I think Cody Gibson can outwork him. I've watched Miles Johns gas out and get tired. He didn't against Argueta, and it was like, holy shit, where did that come from? And then, we know where it came from. So I'll take Cody Gibson. I think Cody Gibson outworks him. This could be a great live line if Miles Johns
That's where I was going. Yeah.
Oh, okay, go for it.
That's where I was going. Yeah, this is a live bet spot 100%. Because if we see what we think we're going to see here come halfway through the second round, then I think we're pretty guaranteed that Cody's going to win that third round. So if you think it's 1-1, you're jumping on Cody halfway through the second round. 100%. The question is if Johns is going to wrestle or not. Now, to your point with the cardio, if he decides to wrestle, I don't know if that's a good thing. So we're going to watch this very intently in the first round and see if we can snag a line on Cody Gibson.
Yeah, I agree completely on that one. Ricardo Ramos and Julian Erosa, what do you like in this one?
Violence.
Yeah,
Violence. We got two guys that finish, two guys that get finished. There was that stretch where, everybody always says, Erosa, you bet the unders. Then he'll go to decision and everyone will get away from it. And then you have the situation in his last fight, early stoppage or not, but it's still a finish. Doesn't matter. We're in a results-driven business, and a finish is a finish. Okay? So just go down the list, right? Split decision, then finish. Before that, finish. You got to take this fight to go under. I think that both guys have the ability to make a mistake. I can't trust Erosa's chin. I also can't trust Ramos. We've seen him take a lot of damage. And that guillotine joke from Charles Jourdain, I don't put a lot of stock in that fight. I think Jourdain is just that good and surprised him. But the Chavez fight, look, that was a beating. Okay? But I got a feeling we're getting an under here. I really do. The decision against Bill Algeo, that's what Bill Algeo does. I've had a great read on Bill Algeo, and he has no problem going to decision. He'll put volume on you. I feel like Erosa, when he starts smelling the finish, if it's there, he's going to put the gas pedal down and go for it.
Yeah, don't forget, Algeo got hurt right at the beginning of the third round.
Yeah, that's true.
In that fight. So Algeo was on his back most of the third round in that one. So I'm with you. I'm not a big Ricardo Ramos fan. I think that spinning back elbow, it was exciting. It was kind of a little bit random. I will say he was winning against Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain got the guillotine choke because Ramos was on top of him. I'm with you that probably the unders is the only way to go on that one. -180 though on the under 1.5. But yeah, these are I'm sorry, under 2.5. Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2.5. Yeah.
Now you've got my attention. Okay. Yeah,
no
that's
distance
probably,
too as a parlay piece. You
Yeah.
want to buy that extra half a round.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, probably the under is the way to go. I don't have a pick in that fight. Trey Ogden and Kurt Holobaugh. Trey Ogden, kind of a weird. So he comes to UFC, loses a split decision against Levitt, wins against Zellhuber, and then like the decision against Bahamondes was a really that kind of threw us off the scent of Bahamondes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, man. They're just some this premature stoppage nonsense where these guys are clearly winning and then they don't get credited with the win is nonsensical. Mm-hmm. Like Trey Ogden was beating the you-know-what out of Nicholas Mata. He just was. Like, let's say he doesn't finish the submission. He was up huge in that one. So it's pretty shitty that this thing goes down as a no contest when Mata was like not even putting up that much of a fight. So the Trey Ogden record is a little weird. Kurt Holobaugh is coming off of a nice win against Austin Hubbard. If you haven't watched the fight against Jason Knight on The Ultimate Fighter, that is like an all-time The Ultimate Fighter fight.
Yeah.
That was, I will say Kurt Holobaugh, coming off of The Ultimate Fighter, some guys have looked really good, some guys have not. I think Kurt Holobaugh is one that I'm like, okay, he showed us something, and then he wins on Austin Hubbard. So this is a pretty close fight. What do you make of Trey Ogden and Kurt Holobaugh?
So I'm gonna push back on everybody's love for Trey Ogden here. So as you remember, I had a massive bet on Trey Ogden to win by finish. And I still feel robbed from that fight. I mean, I called that fight. I called it to a T, the breakdown, everything. And then I don't get paid when I get my finish. Now, here's why I didn't get paid. Because Trey Ogden played with his food. He should have ended that fight at the end of the first round, at some point in the second round. And he fiddle-fucked around, landed his jab, picked and prodded when Mata was beat to hell. Beat to hell. And what happens? This is what happens when you play with your food. He talked this big game about killer instinct and all these, and you saw the same old Trey Ogden. Now, insert Kurt Holobaugh. He's not going to sit back and let himself get jabbed to shit for 2 rounds. That's not happening. I really like Kurt in this spot, and I was not expecting to be on any fighters really coming off this season of the contender of The Ultimate Fighter because they're all veterans. You know, we saw what he did to Austin Hubbard. But, man, I like Kurt's violence. He's a tough, gritty guy. Underrated ground game. I don't see the edge from Trey Ogden in the grappling like he had in the Mata fight. Kurt's going to work. He's not going to get tired. He's tough as nails. And when it comes down to making a fight ugly, I think Kurt has a huge advantage. So I'm on Kurt Holobaugh in this situation. I think Trey Ogden has just shown that even when he says he's going to do things, he's not going to do it. He's going to be the same old fighter, and I think he's predictable.
That I go back to that Holobaugh Jason Knight fight. Here's how intense it was. The coaches were that was the Conor McGregor Michael Chandler season, and they had been going at it, but it was kind of characters of each other. They completely broke character. Yeah, they were not when they were watching, and after the fight, both of them were not. They were not going at. They were both like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And they walked by each other, and they almost hugged. Yeah. Because they were so blown away. If you can watch that fight, go back and watch it. It is a violent one, and I walked out of that one going, "Man, Holobaugh is no joke." That guy's going to cause some real problems for people.
He is country tough. He is just country tough. Yep.
Luis Pajuelo and Fernando Padilla. I'll be honest. I went back and watched the Padilla Kyle Nelson fight. I was waiting to see how Kyle Nelson won, and I just didn't get there. What was so weird is that fight was in Mexico, and it felt like a robbery for the Canadian fighter. I don't know. I think he should be 2-0 in the UFC. The judge that gave it 3-0 or 30-27 to Kyle Nelson
robbery.
That was pretty bad. So you got Luis. I pronounced it Pajuelo, but I think it's Pajuelo. But Luis, coming off of the Contender Series, nice win against he was the underdog against Robbie Ring. I remember this one because Robbie Ring was a wrestler, grappler, and for some reason he thought it'd be a great idea to be a striker in that one, and everyone was on Robbie Ring that night, and it did not go well. Who do you like in this one? Should be a really, really fun scrap.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are liking Padilla, and I've heard the breakdowns on Luis, and I just don't agree with them. People are saying he has a hard time. They're all looking at that Kyle Nelson fight like it was a landslide loss, and it really wasn't. Did he 30-27 him? No, but he won that fight. I think Luis has great movement moving backwards. He's got good step off a right hand, a good step off left hand. He's good at cutting angles. His length is going to be an advantage. This is a fight where you could look at violence. I think these guys are going to stand and trade. Now, the only problem with that is we have two tough fighters.
Mexican fighters. Damn impossible to knock out.
Yeah, we got to take that into account in your handicap. But I like Luis in this situation. I think he has the more cleaner striking. I worry a little bit about his striking defense. I think this is going to be a hell of a fight. This should be a really, really exciting fight. So I lean Luis. Nothing in the bankroll just yet going on it, but I lean Luis.
Yeah, the value to me is the underdog. Just because if I'm just looking at numbers, I'm going. I'm not really sure Padilla should be minus 175. Just because you're right, these guys could absolutely stand there and trade bangers, and if they do, you'd love to be having that plus money. I don't really have much to add to it. Should be a really, really fun one. I'll just be excited to be a spectator on this one. I won't have any money on it. We talked about Billy Q and Zalal. Let's talk about Peyton Talbot, Cameron Simon. I'm stunned they're putting these two guys up against each other. This is a real surprise for me. Normally, I feel like they put these young guys up against older, type of gatekeeper type of things. But Peyton Talbot, his last fight was very, very strange. I thought he came out very nervous against an opponent he should have really walked through, but he weathered the storm. He eventually gets the finish, and I thought he just really settled into it. I thought it was very, very definite nerves. And this guy hasn't fought a ton. I mean, he's got some good amateur ones, but he fought Uriah Fabers, and then he had a pretty good fight against Cortez. It goes down as a decision, but make no mistake, he dominated that. It was a really, really good showing on Contender Series, and then showed pretty decent cardio, and then the submission game. And then you got Cameron Simon, who, 9-1. Is Christian Rodriguez, like, when you're just, like, in, 2 years, are we just going to go to all the young prospects and it's like, fucking lost to Christian Rodriguez? Do you know what I mean?
Barely. Let's put that in quotations. Lost to Christian Rodriguez.
Yeah. But it's like, man, this guy's 12-1. Who do you look? Of course, Christian Rodriguez. Cameron Simon, he's had 3 very strange fights in the UFC, or 4. So Stephen Kozlow was a very last second one, and Kozlow actually showed some guts there. Cameron Simon got the win. Great fight against Mana Martinez. It was great. And then Mana Martinez goes to lose on regional scenes. Yeah. So you're like, how good is that? Terrence Mitchell, he came from the dreaded Alaskan regional scene and got sparked early, and then loses to Christian Rodriguez. 2 young prospects. One of them is going to come out smelling like roses. Who do you think it's going to be?
Why does everybody hate Cameron Simon?
Probably because they love Peyton Talbot.
That was my next question. Why does everybody love Peyton Talbot?
The hair.
The tattoos?
We love hair. A certain hairstyle that is unique in UFC, people absolutely love. You got to admit, it is very early Sean O'Malley-esque.
Yeah.
And you remember when he came onto Contender Series, that name was being thrown around. He's long, he's kind of lanky, but he's got good power, and he's got the curly hair. Those were things that were really actually being said before Contender Series. I really think it's as simple as that.
Okay. I am leaning Cameron in this spot. I have not been impressed with Peyton Talbot. Let me put it this way. He's a good fighter. He hasn't been fighting up to his billing. They are pushing him like he is the next Sean O'Malley. Cameron's bigger. Cameron's thicker. Cameron has more UFC experience. Cameron has shown that he can tough out an ass kicking. Okay? We know none of this about Peyton Talbot. We don't know that's going to happen to Peyton Talbot when he gets into a tough fight, because he's really had the ability to control every fight that he's had. I think Cameron's kind of been there, done that. And this line is a little disrespectful to somebody who's been there, done that. I understand the hype with Peyton Talbot. I could see this fight most certainly being a 3-round split decision close fight. I don't think we're going to see a 30-27. The only place I see where Talbot's going to have a big advantage could be in the wrestling late, because we've seen Cameron kind of that's how he, really lost to Christian, was he was able to dictate the fight. But I'm leaning to Cameron Simon, man. I saw the face-off. I saw the size difference. I'm not going to have a bet on this fight. I'm going to watch it. It's going to be a fun fight. But Simon's the pick.
I like the over 2.5. It's minus 190, but I'm struggling to see where
I like it. I think that's a good number, man.
I'm struggling to see where a finish comes from either of these guys, just because I think both of them are really tough. Mm-hmm. They're young where they haven't had a bunch of damage on their chins, True. So I'm not sure either one of them is going to finish on the ground. I mean, Talbot got the submission, but the guy who's fighting gassed out and was just not a very good not a very good fighter in the third round. So I like the over. I think this goes the distance. I think whoever you like to win, you could play him by decision. So I was stunned. I was surprised to see Simon as the bigger guy. I just always pictured Talbot
it was surprising, right?
As being the bigger guy. But it'd be interesting to see how much bigger he is tonight, or if Talbot puts on a little bit more weight when he hydrates up. So I like the over in that one. Edmund Shabazian and AJ Dobson. If you want to see a fight with very low volume and absolutely no exciting moments, go watch his last fight against Stefan and Njoukwi. Gosh, that fight was just absolute murder. Loses to Petrosian and loses to Malcone, and you got Shabazian, who is, I don't know, kind of the opposite of that, where this is finish. So you have a guy who's in tons of finishes and then a guy who's not. But does Shabazian have one of the more strange strengths of schedule? Like Derek Brunson in 2020, when Brunson was, much better. Jack Romanson, Imavov, who's fighting in main events, Anthony Hernandez, and Dalcha? Where did that come from? Like, he's got a very, very strange strength of schedule here. So he gets the big win against Dalcha, but he loses to the big step-ups in competition. I think Dobson's kind of in the middle there. I have absolutely no idea what to make of this. I could see Shabazian trying to push the pressure and Dobson trying to slow it down. Who knows who's going to win that battle as far as pace goes? I cannot wrap my head around this fight. I have absolutely no idea who's going to win. I will say minus 198 on Shabazian's insanity to me.
Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous.
Okay.
Like, people must hate themselves. I don't understand it. Never in my life. All right, so we don't like Edmund, right? We don't
not
like
AJ. Not at minus 200.
Yeah.
No way.
As an overall fighter, there's too many questions with Edmund. Cardio. Is his wrestling getting any better? Is his cardio getting any better? Because we keep hearing about these improvements, but then he fights and he looks the same. AJ Dobson was billed as this big force coming in, and he's the decision eater. Here's the thing, though. When you got a guy like Edmund who can just totally gas out and fold when the fight gets tough, your finishing ability points go up about 25 to 30%. I'm not taking a side in this. I already have this bet. I have this fight not to go the distance.
Okay.
I think Edmund is going to Edmund. He's either going to come out and look fantastic and, make AJ throw volume and wrestle and all this stuff. And then if it starts round 2, we're going to watch that gas tank go. The other thing I'll say is have your damn live lines open for this fight.
Oh, that's a great
Because,
call.
man, we're going to watch Edmund's gas tank like a hawk. And the second we see that breath take, that big breath, I'm jumping right on AJ Dobson. because and if it goes to decision, at that point, I mean, you got to think AJ, if Edmund Gassis wins, maybe possibly steals round 2 and wins round 3 because Edmund's gonna have nothing left.
Yeah.
Until I see his cardio, I can't bet on the man. I can't.
No.
I need to see him be able to go 15 minutes hard, and he has not been able to do that. Can't trust it.
I watched him at weigh-ins, and I will just say, Shabazian looks like he has not seen the sun in 17 years.
Yeah.
Like when one leg kick is gonna look like he's bleeding through the skin.
That's a great point, though, man. Because we talk about visuals and we talk about these judges, how they find the weirdest stuff in fights to make them lean away or another. And
every mark.
Yeah. If AJ lands 2 body kicks, it's gonna look like Edmund has broken ribs. Yeah, he'll have welts.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. Carl Williams and Justin Tafa. We love Carl Williams. We had him pretty big against Bresky. Mm-hmm. So he does get the win against Chase Sherman. The breakdown is pretty simple. Carl Williams is going to wrestle. Justin Tafa is going to try and stuff takedown and land the huge shot. I got to tell you, man, even though we've bet on Carl Williams, his gas tank is not 3 rounds of a gas tank. It's a little bit dicey.
Like two rounds, maybe a minute.
And then it gets pretty worrisome. So can he wrestle Tafa? Probably. Tafa's a really tough cat, man. Like he's way better wrestling defense than his brother. Put it that way. His brother has zilch. So he's got those big, thick legs. You know he's going to be swinging hard. I actually think, and I'm not a Tafa fan. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I actually think the value is on Tafa here. He only needs one shot. There's only a handful of guys where you say he literally only needs to land one shot and it's over. And Tafa's one of them. I've seen Carl gas himself a little bit. And I just think that Tafa, believe it or not, is just going to be harder to take down than Chase Sherman and Lucas Bresco. There was another guy that tested positive for steroids and looked terrible afterwards. So I'm not betting on it, but I'm not betting on Carl Williams as a minus 200. I'm surprised that people are just penciling this in as the lock of the night because of the wrestling. I don't know. I've watched Carl Williams gas out a little bit. This is a pass for me on Carl Williams. If anything, it's Tafa, and if you're playing Tafa, you're playing him by knockout.
Correct. Exactly. You're playing him by knockout. If you could pull up Tafa's record here, let's scroll down. We'll do a little live investigating here. So you let me know when he's fight someone who is an active good wrestler, though.
Okay.
Austin Lane had the worst freaking game plan I've ever seen in my life in that fight.
It was bad.
It was atrocious from the second the bell rang. Parker Porter, never really a dominant wrestler. Okay?
Harry Hunsucker.
And there he is, Mr. Harry Hunsucker. This is a name that we've been following, and like we were saying, you can look back at names. You're going to look at these mid to low heavyweights and like, who'd they beat? Harry Hunsucker. Oh, who'd this guy beat? Harry Hunsucker. Jared Bandera. There's another one. And Parker Porter. And Carlos Felipe. I mean, come on. And that was a split decision. I mean, how do you go into a split decision with Carlos Felipe?
Because it was close. It was a close fight.
It's just, God, ugly fights. Juan Adams, who we've seen. Was Juan Adams? Is he in PFL? I think we bet against Juan Adams last year.
We did. Whatever regional scene he's on these days, we bet hard against him.
Jorgen, we bet against the PFL. I mean, this is a dumpster fire of a resume right here. So, is Carl Williams better than all these guys?
Probably.
I don't know. I think he is.
He is. I can say it. Yeah.
But that gas tank, like you said, worries me. The fact that he doesn't check leg kicks worries me. The fact that if he can't get it to the ground, now he's going to have to stand in front of Justin Tafa. I think he's going to look really good in the beginning of this fight. Look, if you see Tafa being able to land leg kicks on him, you're live betting Tafa. It's that simple. That's all this fight comes down to me. If Carl Williams, you see him close the distance and he's checking a leg kick or he's got a counter for a leg kick, you're betting Carl Williams. If you don't see it, you're betting Justin Tafa. That's all. Low-level fights, we don't need some big, giant piece of... That's the only information you need, guys. Okay? That's it.
Fair enough.
Watch it live, go from there.
fair enough. So
yeah, I would lean Carl. I mean, I would lean Carl, but yeah, nothing on this.
Yeah, I mean, because Tough only wins by knockout. He doesn't win. He doesn't win decisions. He's certainly not winning by submission. So this is one of the few times where you can just say, Taffa by KOs plus 215. So if he's going to win, that's how it's going to be. All right, guys, go ahead and hit the like button. Leave us a comment. I know we're putting this up a little bit late, but we had to dig deep and find out what's going on with this Billy Q situation. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Leave us a best bet. Tell us what you like today. Main event, Amanda Ribas, Rose Namajunas. Weigh-ins, I was surprised Ribas was about the same size as Rose. I don't think it changes that much about the handicap of this one, which is just the glaring lack of striking defense from Amanda Ribas. She's wild. She starts off her fights pretty exciting, and then that lack of striking defense is just so glaring, and you gotta believe a veteran like Rose is gonna know exactly what to do. So what do we make of Amanda Ribas? Huge line move over the week, to the point where I wondered if it was something like the Billy Q thing, because this was, last week Rose was minus 160, now she's minus 220, and this happened before weigh-in. So it was like, you could take a bunch of bets on Rose, but it's not going to move the line that much. The books, I thought, were telling us a little bit of a story. I don't know. Maybe it was they needed to get more money on Ribas. But what's your breakdown of this fight?
You hit the nail on the head, man. I cannot bet on Amanda Ribas at all with that striking defense. I just physically cannot do it.
Your
It's
fingers
atrocious.
won't actually let you go over
my finger goes like this. Every time I go to push the button, it just pulls back up. I watch her hit pads. I watched a lot of film on Ribas. Nobody is fixing it. Nobody is fixing it. And as a coach, as a trainer, as somebody who owns a gym, they're doing her a massive disservice. She still trains at her family gym. I would love for her to go somewhere else, because she needs to hear this, okay? She needs to understand what head movement is and keeping your chin down when you're striking. And like you said, somebody like Rose better find this, and I really think she's gonna find the chin of Amanda. We never really know exactly what we're gonna get with Rose, but what I do know is that she put up one hell of a fight against Manon Fiorot. And if it wasn't for her breaking that finger and it getting in her head, and look, guys, you say what you want. Oh, it's just a finger. Did you see her finger?
Yeah, it was messed up.
It looked like a twisty straw. It was nasty. Okay, so I wouldn't be punching real hard with that hand myself. I think this is going to be Rose definitely getting a win. His second time at this weight class. I just can't bet on Amanda. I understand the love. Everybody loves her. She's popular. Can't do it. Got to be Rose. Give me Rose. Give me Rose inside the distance at some point.
I remember you and I watching the Fiorot fight, and after they announced that Rose lost by decision, you and I both said the exact same thing. Cannot wait to bet on Rose. Coming off of 2 losses, that bizarro Esparza fight, but then she just looks so much better against Fiorot. So it's like, okay, in the books, she's lost 2 in a row, but what a great buy low opportunity here. So I'm with you on Rose. Can you you said something to me earlier this week about when you watch her hitting the pads? Can you tell that story real quick?
Which would I forget what it was. What
I think you were watching press conference or embedded, and they were showing highlights of her.
Oh
hitting
yeah,
pads.
yeah. They were showing highlights of her hitting the pads with her father holding them, and it's so evident. Like, they're traveling all across Brazil. They're on the beach. She's hitting pads, and every time she hits the pad, she's looking like into the sun, because her chin just goes up in the air every time. And it's not on the first shot. She always throws. If you watch Amanda fight, she always throws left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. Left hand, right hand. And it's when she opens up to throw a power hook or throw that right hand that her chin just goes right up in the air. And we saw Macy Barber take advantage of that. Rose is 10 times the striker that Barber is. Yeah, Barber has power, but Rose is a sniper. I mean, she is a sniper. I'll even call the shot. I could see a counter head kick for Rose ending this fight. Barber was close a couple times with that head kick and actually wobbled Amanda with it before she finished it with her hands. So it blows my mind that at the professional level, it's all about who you surround yourself with. And sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone and be told the hard pieces about your training that you're not doing certain things right. And until she does that, to me, she's a bet against fighter.
Yeah, I mean, the win against Luana Pinheiro is...
She gassed.
Okay. Yeah, agreed.
We watched that fight live. We saw it, right? We hit Amanda big. But it was a bet against Pinheiro, not on Ribas. We were scared to death in that first round.
We were. I mean, this is a Pinheiro that... Yeah, I mean, look at who Pinheiro fought before that. The Karate Hottie.
Yeah.
And
the
Sam
decision
Hughes,
machine. Yeah.
Random Marcos. And then, so I just can't quite get excited about the level of competition from Amanda Ribas, especially when she stepped up against Macy Barber and just... That was a bloodbath. You know, and then loses to Chikagian. So, you know, who does she beat? Pinheiro, Viviane, who's really on the slide.
Yeah.
Jandiroba. I mean, she can brag about beating Paige Van Zandt in her career, for Christ's sake.
Oh, that's the highlight they continuously show, too. They always show her submitting Paige.
Yes.
You're like, okay. There's a lot of people that have highlights over
Paige on a highlight video, even if it's her getting her arm broken in half. So, all right. Quick little recap here. Usman and Parkin. Yuck. I guess it's Parkin or nothing here. Probably over. Maybe Parkin by decision. Igor, Severino, and Lima. We like the value in Severino and what should be a really exciting fight, but we like the guy that can do more damage. Rendon and Darya. I think we like inside the distance, and we like Rendon. So inside the distance because Darya can strike, Rendon can submit on the ground, and I like Rendon, the wrestler over the striker. Stephen Nguyen, Jarno, Errens, hold your nose. We like Jarno, Errens, just fading Stephen Nguyen, who we're not that high on. Miles Johns, Cody Gibson. I think we both like Cody Gibson. Miles Johns coming off the steroids. First fight back. It's been a successful betting opportunity, fading guys who come off a positive steroid test. Ricardo, Ramos, and Julian Erosa under. Ogden and Holobaugh. We like Holobaugh. Padilla and Pajuelo. Do we have a definite pick for this one?
Yeah, I'm on Luis. Yeah,
You on Luis?
I like Luis.
I'll roll with you on that one. Billy Q and Zalal. We broke that one down at the beginning of the video. Probably Zalal with all the questions now with Billy. Peyton Talbot, Cameron Simon. Simon probably to go the distance. Shabazian and Dobson. Way too much juice on Shabazian. Maybe take it to go to not go the distance with the lack of gas tank from Shabazian. Carl Williams and Justin Tafa. If you like Williams, maybe Williams by decision. If you like Tafa, it's Tafa by knockout. And then I think we're both on Rose in this one. So that is going to do it for us. We'll be on Takedown Live later today. That's on the YouTube channel. Takedown Live. Join us. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Leave us a comment. Tell us who you like tonight. Good luck on all your plays. Hope everyone's brackets is doing pretty good. I know there's no way. I know there's no way anyone's doing awesome on it, but I fill out my bracket and I don't even look till the end, Jim. I've learned.
That's probably the best strategy.
Yeah. Why? Why torture yourself with that? Like,
I get the paper and then I don't even fill it out. I just leave it.
Oh, it's even better. Now you don't have to stress about it even more. Love it. Love it. So, all right, guys. Good luck on all your plays, and we will see everyone next video.
Good luck.